What's going on, everyone? It's Adam and Craig with Grandstand Golf. This is our PGA DFS picks for the 2021 Open Championship. Craig, it's been 2 years, but we're back in the UK for Open Championship golf.
Yeah, for sure. Shane Lowry, the longest reigning champion. I guess maybe people who have repeat as winners, but pretty good reign he's had.
Yep.
Can
Let's see if he can hold it down 2 years later.
Yeah, it would be a repeat three-peat. Nah, maybe not.
Nah, we can't call it three-peat, but it'd still be impressive.
Yeah.
Open Championship DFS, we're talking here, Craig. I think we're recording this Monday afternoon now, Monday afternoon. There's already been over 15 withdrawals. Like people are dropping left, right, and center. So in terms of DFS, be nimble. Weather's going to change. We don't even know tee times yet. Weather's going to change a lot. We're going to have more withdrawals most likely. So anything DFS there?
No, we've had prices out for 4 days now, maybe at least. Don't just put in guys and forget about them. You got to follow it until the tournament starts, basically.
Yeah, all the way up until lock. This is our pick show. All stats taken Sunday, July 11th. I think there is some, results from Scottish Open John Deere, but mostly the stats are before that. Not a lot of difference really being made, but yeah.
Yep, there you go.
Follow us on Twitter, subscribe to our channel, hit that thumbs up. It's been a while since we've done this, but it's exciting to be back. 3 picks each, over 7,500. Yeah, go ahead, Craig.
No, I was just going to say, if you hadn't seen this before, essentially we each got 3 picks above 7,500. We'll have our sleeper show out. We'll each have 3 picks below 7,500. Those are DraftKings prices, so check that out if you want the values.
Let's do it. My first pick here, I'm going Jordan Spieth, 9,700 on DraftKings. He's 7th there. Way too cheap, I think. He's 5th on FanDuel, 11,600. So what am I looking at for kind of my picks and sleepers this week? Open Championship. I want to see form. Form is definitely critical. Number one for me. I would like to see some Open experience or UK links experience. But most importantly, how they're doing in majors, because it has been a while since we've seen kind of the Open Championship. I want to see how these guys are doing against the best fields, where you have to avoid those bogeys. How are they doing in majors and those type of events? So, first off, Jordan Spieth, ridiculous, insane recent form. Last 7 events, he has 6 top 20s, almost all of them, 4 top 10s. So over half the time in his last 7 events, he's getting in the top 10. He has the win at the Valero Texas Open. And this is his per event, his stroke gain data. So he's been positive in 5 of his last 6 events for stroke gain putting. But around the green, he's been positive in 14 of the last 15. And then stroke gain approach has been positive in 11 straight, off the tee in 10 straight. So he is striking the ball so pure right now. He's putting very well. His around the green game is strong as always. He is just in very, very, very good form. Before Rahm won the US Open, people were talking about Jordan Spieth as having the best, kind of 2021 up until, there are some other majors declared there. But his Open Championship record, 7 cuts made, all T44 or better. He has 3 top 10s in those 7 events, the 1 win in 2017. Jordan Spieth, to me, kind of feels like a lock. I don't care about ownership. I think he just fits this style of golf perfectly, and his form is exceptional.
Yeah, you make a lot of good arguments. I think that there are, it's such a competitive price range. There's a lot of players up there. We've got JT at 9,600.
Yep.
But you can at 97 you could plug in multiple guys. So he could be a second player in.
He can be a first in.
He can be a first in
in
a nice balanced lineup. The ball striking stats is what stands out to me. We've seen such a roller coaster of play over the last couple of years with Jordan Spieth that to be positive stroke gain approach in 11 straight, to be positive stroke gain off the tee in 10 straight. He hit with his short game and his putting, he's going to do a lot of, he's so dangerous when he's essentially gaining consistently with his ball striking.
Yeah.
Maybe a guy you could pair with him. Neither of them are too expensive, but my first one here, I'm going Xander Schauffele. $10,000 on DraftKings. He's 5th in pricing, 11.5 on FanDuel. He's 6th over there. To me, it's sort of like we're getting, maybe like Rahm before the U.S. Open. Maybe that's an exaggeration, obviously, but
yeah.
I 5th, 6th in pricing. I think right now I may have Xander at 2nd in my power rankings amongst the top players in the world. So
as just like golf power rankings.
Yep, just straight golf power rankings.
Week in, week out.
Yeah, so you look at the last 3 months, he's 4th. He's gaining 2.27 strokes a round over the last 3 months. You look 6 months is his worst interval. He falls to 7th, but then 12 months, he's 2nd. 2 years, he's 3rd. So he is right up there at the top of the golf world when it comes to consistency and production. The form is sizzling coming into this week. He's got 3 straight top 11s. I believe that includes the Scottish Open. But in that time, he's 2.39 strokes gained ball striking. So, Xander's not one of these people who is, typically he gains a ton with his ball striking, and the short game and putting can kind of be hit or miss. He typically gains consistently across all categories of the game. So for him to be so hot with his ball striking, to me, he's in a very, very dangerous form right now. He's shown an ability to play on any course. He has, so we've got 4 different majors. 3 of them he's got top 3rds in. So it's not, the PGA Championship is the only one he doesn't. He's got a top 10 there, but he's been 3rd or better at essentially any of the other major championships. So I think he can play at the Open. He has a 2nd here, I believe, back in the day. But people, I'm not really sure where perception is in terms of Xander at majors. He obviously doesn't have the win. He's kind of thought of it as someone who I think plays well on the big stage, but I think there's also starting to be question marks about whether he can close on the big stage. I don't buy into that at all. I think that he's been in contention. He's tried to play for the win. At the Masters on 16, we saw him hit it in the water, but he was going for the win. And
I love it.
He puts himself in position to do that, and he's going to still try to win it on Sunday late in the day. Just real quick, if you doubt his major performance, 17 starts, 12 top 25s, 9 top 10s, 6 top 5s, 6 of 17 top 5s, 2 seconds, 2 thirds. So, it still hasn't been that long that he has been at the top of the golf world. But in that time, he has really put up results at majors.
Yeah, it's really interesting for Xander this week. I actually think he'll go a little bit under-owned, except for the Xander truthers, the people like you that have all the data and all the stats and all that. But, you got Rahm playing some of the best golf we've seen in a long time. We have DJ, who did well here in 2011, also former world number 1 this year. Brooks, major killer, and then you have below him here, Rory's around him. You have Spieth below him. I think Xander might kind of be the forgotten guy a little bit. I don't know what I'm doing here. The Rahm light call is a little bit not quite jiving with me. It's a little bit of a reach, but I love me some Xander. I'll be cheering for him. Depending on how many lineups I make, I don't know. I don't know if this will be his first win. A win is on the horizon for a major, but he can win anywhere. So you can never discount him in any 4 of these majors. Yeah,
my theory is I'm going to play him in every major because I think it's just a matter of time.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Okay, my second pick here. I'm going Patrick Reed, 8,800 on DraftKings. He's 14th on FanDuel, 14th as well, 10,600. I just think way too cheap. So he comes in a strong recent form, 3 top 25s in his last 4 starts. Because you see a lot of these trends articles, Open Championships last 7 of 8 have been over 32, or they have a win this year, 7 of 8, or one I saw recently was a top 15 in the last 3 starts, some last 10 Open Champions or whatever. Patrick Reed is like a T16, so he's not going to fall into that category, but he's still playing really good golf. 3 top 25s in his last 4 events. Again, looking like Spieth, his stroke gain data in that time. So positive off the tee, approach, and around the green in 4 straight. Strokes gain putting positive in 3 of the last 4. So just kind of one little blip in the strokes gain putting department. Not too worried about that at all. Kind of like Xander, like Jordan Spieth. I like these. In the Open Championship, balanced golfers, no real weaknesses, which is going to be exposed in their games. And I feel like these 3 guys have it. In terms of Open Championship history, he's played in this event 6 times. Really good, 4 top 30s, not really, really good, but 4 top 30s. So playing the weekend and kind of moving up in the weekend to the top 30, 2 miscuts. I think you need to have a little bit of experience with an Open, and you kind of get crazy miscuts. Rory in North Ireland, like a crazy miscut there. It just kind of happens. It happens. But the other thing I'm going to be talking about, like the run in majors in these tough fields, tough conditions, that kind of thing. 7 straight top 20s for Patrick Reed in major championships. So the last 7 majors going back over 2 years, he's been top 20 in every single major championship.
Yeah, I mean, When I think my initial thoughts with Patrick Reed is that you like him as a GPP play because he gives you so much upside. I think he has,
Yeah.
he to me, he comes across as a guy who has more win equity than, say, top 10 equity. But those numbers, 7 straight top 20s, is almost sort of, it's like cash play. Like if you can think of
Yeah.
him as a safer made cut, safer top 20. But to me, I'm still leaning towards, I like his upside, his potential to win or be close to, more than I like. And maybe you see it at the Open with the 2 missed cut and 4 top 30s. But yeah, I think almost assuredly he's going to make some lineups for me. I just don't know how much.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair.
Because a guy who's going to be taking up a lot of my ownership around there, Viktor Hovland.
Interesting.
Viktor Hovland, 9,100. He's 11th on DraftKings, also 11th on FanDuel at 10,900. Viktor Hovland, to me, we're what, year 2, 3-ish. The seasons have gotten a little bit crazy with COVID, but 2 years essentially since in the past 2 years, his strokes gained total, he's been 12th in the golf world. You look more recently in the last 3 months, he's over 2 strokes per round. He's 5th. 6 months, 12 months, he's 8th. So I feel like if you're looking at someone as young as him and the long-term 2-year value makes sense for their price, then to me it's almost a slam dunk. You could maybe, I could see people making the argument that we haven't seen the major results. But to me, it's somewhat breakthrough. So he doesn't have a top 10 in the major. He was low amateur, I believe, at the Masters a few years back. Yeah. He has good, no great results of any kind, I would say, at a major. But to me, with how good he is at some very, very key skills, I think it's just a matter of time. I think it's imminent before that he's going to get his major breakthrough. He's someone who is number 4 strokes gained ball striking in the last 12 months. So we're talking Jon Rahm, Colin Morikawa, Justin Thomas, and Viktor Hovland. So those are people who really are at the top, and he is right there with them. The thing that on top of that, he does still maybe have a perception, maybe not, that he's not great around the greens, but he's positive around the greens. He's been a good putter for a while, and that's reflected in the stats. So to me, I think you've got a balanced player with elite ball striking ability. I think it's just a matter of time before we see that translating into major results. In terms of form coming in, gained strokes in 8 of his last 9 events. Maybe a little bit flying under the radar with his form. He has the win at, I keep forgetting, is it BMW European or BMW International?
International.
Yeah. So maybe that flies a little bit under the radar because it wasn't as much on North American eyeballs. But to me, I think it's not the form we saw from him in early 2021, where it was top 5s essentially every week he teed it up. So maybe that keeps his ownership down a bit. Maybe he withdrew on Friday at the U.S. Open. He had I think sand in his eye or something, and so maybe that helps to keep his ownership down a bit. People who play only the big events for golf, they got burned by him on a miscut
single ticket.
I mean, not even a miscut, I guess, but a withdrawal at a major. So the next time the major comes up, maybe a few people shy away from him for that reason. I'm not going to be shying away from him at all. I'm going to be pushing it in on Viktor Hovland again.
Yeah, Viktor Hovland, it's interesting for me. So his form is good. He's coming off a win. His form is really good. I'm going to kind of give the U.S. Open a wash. Like he was screwed up with his eye there. He posted on Instagram. It did not look good. But it's interesting. So first Open Championship, it's in the UK. He's from Norway, both Europe, a ways away, but it kind of feels like a little bit like Hideki Matsuyama with Japan. Like he has the weight of Norway on his shoulders because he's such a young kind of phenom. And I think he's going to wear that. I think the pressure might be a little bit amped up in the Open Championship because it is the closest one to Norway. And the other thing too is I've always been, they talk about his weakness around the greens, and it seems to be the cheap talking point in coverage, and you just kind of bring it up because it's there. I haven't really bought into that, but it's not the best part of his game. But when you have pressure, if you have a little bit of doubt, if it's the Open Championship where you have fescue and all these mounds on huge bunkers, maybe a little bit of doubt does creep in, and it does kind of expose potentially a weakness in his game. I don't know. It's interesting.
I mean, he is, one of the contenders for #1 strokes gain attitude out there. So,
Yes.
but I hear you about the pressure of Norway. I think Norway's somewhere about 5 million people. Japan's about 90 or 100 million people, I want to say. So I do think we're talking
It's
different orders of magnitude in terms of pressure. And with the Open, yeah, maybe he feels pressure here. I don't think it's like Lee Westwood, Paul Casey, people who
Right.
they really feel the pressure to perform in front of these crowds who show up, in England or in the British Isles more generally.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Okay, my third pick, another Open Championship rookie here. I'm going with Scottie Scheffler, 8,200 on DraftKings. He's 20th there on FanDuel. I think a great price, 25th there, 9,700. I did not think I was going to have 3 Americans when we started writing this show, but here I am. I did not think I was going to have Scottie Scheffler, but after doing some more research, here I am. I mean, I just can't ignore what Scottie Scheffler has been doing. So his last 5 majors, 5 top 20s, 3 top 10s. Exceptional in these major championships. Then if we look at his top 10, so all the events he played, his last 5 top 10s, 2 came in majors, 2 came in WGCs, and 1 came at the Memorial Championship, arguably the most major-like non kind of major we've had this season.
Elevated status.
Elevated status. The one major that's not listed there was the Masters. He was T18, so he didn't get a top 10, but he was T18. So he's just been playing in these tough field, hard events very, very well. But he doesn't have that links golf experience. He hasn't played in the Open. I was trying to go through his AM career, look at Walker Cup. He hasn't really played here at all. So it's interesting. But he played, so there is a links golf concern, but he played the Scottish Open this past week, got 12th there. That gives me both a check mark for form and a check mark for links golf. I actually think his game is suited very, very well for links golf. He's the Texan, so hopefully he can play in the wind. He has the distance. He has the accuracy off the tee. He is kind of a nice combination of those two. He doesn't have a real weakness. All his strokes and data are positive. And I think he's kind of creative. He's good with his hands. He's creative with his shots. It's not just, point A, point B. He can shape it. I think Scottie Scheffler is kind of a sleeping dragon when it comes to Open Championship and links golf. Like potentially maybe it's where he plays best in the future. But in his first one, I'm willing to take the risk. I mean, I love that FanDuel price, but I'm willing to take the risk on DraftKings as well at 8,200.
Yeah, it's funny because the arguments you're making and then the results you're throwing out here are somewhat contrary to my perception of Scottie Scheffler. I think of him as a guy. Maybe it's the 59 last summer, but I think of him as a guy that makes a lot of birdies, but maybe isn't the most bogey avoidant, which typically you think of as more. That's what's going to get you in major championships and some of these harder courses, harder tournaments, but. I think the talent is clear. From a DFS point of view, maybe my one concern is that low 8,000 range. Oftentimes there'll be ownership will pile onto someone, and with the numbers you're saying here, maybe Scottie Scheffler, he is because of his talent, I think people think of him as a real upside play, and so maybe that causes some ownership concerns. But no, I think the value is awesome at 82.
Yeah, all 3 of my picks, I'm a little bit concerned with ownership, but that's where I have 3 other spots to get a little bit weird.
Yeah, and mix and match. Maybe guys you're concerned about ownership, you play them with the other ones that are going to be lower owned contrarian plays. Yeah. My last one here, maybe a contrarian play, tough to know. Cameron Smith, 7,800. He's 26 on DraftKings, 9,900, 21st on FanDuel. Someone who, oftentimes the justification for my picks is based on, primarily on where I think their strokes gain total values are compared to their prices. Not really the case with Cameron Smith. He's sort of between 1 and 1.33 strokes gain over the different intervals in the past 2 years. Between 25th and 37th in the world in that time. So, maybe you're not thinking that the value's really there at a 26th pricing in the tournament. But to me, this is a GPP play. He's someone who I think you're getting high results from, but you maybe don't have the safe floor, safe made cut potential. 8 of 17 events this season, he's gained at least 2.2 strokes gained per round. Those are really good numbers. That means, top 5s, top 10s, that kind of thing. To me, this is probably the one that paints it the best, though, in terms of the high risk, not as safe a floor. He has 20 starts in majors, 3 top 5s, but only 6 top 25. So you'd like to, most of these top players in the world you're seeing maybe 10 top 25s, and then that 3 top 5, it sort of has a more natural curve to it. He does have a top 20 in the Open in a previous start, so I do think he's not, these Australians, they can take different paths to being at the top of the golf world. Sometimes you do see them start full-time on the European Tour. He is not one of those. He went straight to, from Asia Pacific play into the US and then played his way up through the system there. But he is someone who has been playing in majors for years. I think 2015 was his first start, so he's 27 years old, same as Xander. But he, for a lot of those early years, he had maybe 2 major starts. Not necessarily. Xander started his first one in 2017, and he's played every one since.
Yeah.
Cam Smith, it's been a little bit spottier, and so I'll give a guy a bit more of a pass for not having the best results as they have kind of taken a different route to being at the top of the golf world. But to me, Cameron Smith, why are you playing him? It's because of his short game. He is in good form with his approach play right now. 6 straight rounds, positive strokes in approach. He's averaging over a full stroke on approach that time. But really, you're playing him for his short game. You're playing him for his ability to, not just like get things close around the green, but make things around the green. Not just like be really good at leg putting, but make those really long putts. To me, he's sort of like in boxing, a puncher's chance. I think of Cam Smith as someone who's going to go out there. He's going to throw punches as long as he's in the tournament, and he's not just going to kind of play to not lose. He's going to do everything he can, and that's the kind of guy I want to have on my DFS roster.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of funny you mentioned the Australian thing because I think it was early 2000s when like the Aussies went on a crazy run. They seem to win in bunches as a nationality. And we got, 3 that have recently just won now. So maybe Cam Smith can, keep the good times going for Australia. Yeah. He from the stats, he's kind of like the anti-Moneyball type play. He's not getting on base every time, but he does some kind of miraculous stuff. So he makes those diving catches and he does some kind of crazy stuff out there. You're like, whoa, jump back in your seat a little bit. Cam Smith it's a tough one to figure out because when kind of like I said with Scottie Scheffler, I mean, he's not kind of the scientist. I kind of see him as like the artist, maybe because of how he looks and how he acts, but he kind of, to me, he's kind of the artist and he kind of gets things done that way. And that's who I like for Open Championship. It's going to be interesting. Yeah, I don't know. He might make a couple of rosters.
Yeah, I mean, another way I would think about him, maybe not quite, if you look at a couple guys you picked here, maybe he's not quite a poor man's Jordan Spieth, because I think Spieth does have more ball striking chops when he's on his game, but maybe like a poor man's Patrick Reed, where Patrick Reed, he has the putter's so solid, the around green play is so solid, and then the ball striking can be really good. It's just not it's not every week. So maybe that's more where Cam Smith is in terms of a type of player.
And I feel like both those guys were, if they're up against Brooks or Rahm or whatever, they're not going to be like shaking in the boots. They're kind of like, give it. Throw it at me. I'll do it. I'll match you. Let's go head to head. Like they're not going to back down from that.
Yeah, they're the kind of people that you would hate to play against.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you everybody for watching. That's our first pick show in a while. Make sure to subscribe to our channel. We do have a sleeper show coming out as well. Watch our other videos. Like and comment below. Let us know your favorite play or pick to win over 7,500 on DraftKings for the Open.
Yep. Good luck, guys. We'll see you next time.